Okay, now that we have a good screen to enter some data on in the invoices file, let's go see if we can enhance the user's experience a little bit by adding some FilePro processing functionality. Let's add a record in this file, and I'm going to just look at the screen for a little bit, and we're going to put in, I see something wrong. There's something at the bottom. Okay, see at the bottom of the screen, I guess from the last lesson when I designed this screen, I didn't see that I put field 60 on the screen. I said we were going to have balance due, but it's not showing up as a field. It's showing up as an exclaimed 60. Part of the Survivor series, we're going to have, that was just my eyes. I didn't notice that I forgot to do that. We're going to define files. We'll go to invoices, and we'll go to the end of the file using F9 and an end. And yep, there's no field 60. We're supposed to put balance due. And let's make it 8 and not 2 field also. Let's save this out. No, I don't want to build another screen. Let's now go add some data. If I go and using screen 1 and I go add data, yeah, now that's a protected field. It's just like the protected field of total, where it's not showing its field marker, or subtotal. At least it's showing exclaim as 60. That was a big problem. I'm sorry for that. We're moving on. FilePro is very forgiving if you're doing things you're designing on the fly. You just go add the things you meant to add. Let's put in a customer code of Acme. Okay, let's pick, how about the third Acme down. Okay, pops in the name and address and all that stuff for the ship to. And let's put in today's date with a slash. You know that a slash can always put in today's date. The type, is this going to be an invoice or a credit memo? Well, for now, let's make it a, oh, I hit Control I. Let's make it an invoice, okay? So I pressed an I and made it a capital I. Now we're over into the ship to field. Well, would it be if the ship to is almost always the same as the bill to, but sure would be a pain to have to type in, you know, Robert Smith and Acme and copy all this stuff. Wouldn't it be nice if you were in this field and you typed same and you hit enter, it would just copy one address to the other. That's a great idea. Let's go do that. That's the first processing thing we'll do. We'll go to 2. We'll go to the, let's say, end of the file and see what the last thing we did was. We should have done a couple different when leaving field routines. There's part of the browse lookup from the when leaving field 3 routine, I guess. Let's look. We looked down up. We should have looked. We looked up down. We should have looked down up. At when entering field 3, at when leaving field 3, and then there's a clear address field that works for processing. For there. Okay, that's good. And there's the browse. All right, here we're going to add at the very end. We have no reason not to now. We're just going to start adding another subroutine. At when leaving field, let's go see what the ship to contact name is. The ship to contact name is field 17. So we'll say at when leaving field 17. I'll put my little helper here. Now if I put if field 17, or, you know, this is one of those fields that has an underline, it's contact, but you notice that I also use the word contact up at field 8, so I can't say if contact is equal to something. You know, I have to use the actual field number here, so I'll use 17. If 17 is equal to the word same, we'll say, then what is it we want to do? We want to make all the fields in the ship to equal the bill to. Well, the bill to starts at field 8, so we're just going to say field 17 equals 8, and field 18 equals 9, and field 19 equals 10, field 20 equals 11, field 21 equals 12, field 22 equals 13, and I think we have one more to go. Let's see. Yeah, we have field 23 zip has got to equal field 23 equals field 14. Okay, now if we just change these fields, we put them on the screen, we want to be able to see them. We remember that if you change fields on a screen within processing, in other words, if the user doesn't change them and he sees them himself, if you change them in processing, you have to display or refresh the screen. So we'll display, if in case this same is typed in, we'll do that change. We'll pop up and we'll show that on the screen right away, and then we'll end. If this field is not equal to 17, if they've laboriously typed in a whole new ship to address, then it's going to fall through to this and just end. In either case, it's going to end, but in this case, it's going to first change, copy over all the fields, then end. Let's test this processing real quick. All right, if we do another add, this time we'll add Acme 1000. We know that exists already, and then we'll say it's today's date and it's an invoice. And now up here in this field, I'm going to type same, and I'm going to hit enter. There we go. That's a pretty nice thing. It pops in all the stuff, and we're ready to go. Kind of a funny thing, though. Now we're in the ship to field, aren't we? In the company, we'll hit enter, enter, or we could tab down to where we put in the first product number. Let's enhance this just a little bit. If they type in the word same, like they did, SAME, and they type that in and they hit enter, I know I'm going to fill in the whole processing. I'm going to fill in all the ship to with the bill to, so I want to immediately put them over here in this field, don't I? So let's go do that. Make that small change. Okay, I messed that up. Okay, if I go into define processing input, I go to the end of the processing table, and after I do find out that they've pressed save and I've changed all the fields, I'm going to display that fact. Then I'm going to put them right into screen. What is the field that I want to go to? The first product number field is 25. So I say screen space comma 25. That's the end. A screen will end the when leaving field routine, so it won't fall through to this and end. It's just going to put them right on that screen, and everything's fine. They're ready to keep rolling. So we know that that's going to function now. We'll leave that. Let's go test it. You should always test everything. Sometimes you do a bunch of things at once to test them, and sometimes you don't. Let's go add a record. Again, we'll add Acme 1000. Notice I've been canceling out of this record, so I'm always going to record number 2, essentially. I have, or 1. I'm not fully adding the record. I'm going to put the date in. I haven't ever pressed escape really yet. Okay, now here I am here, and I type same, and if I type same, it pops in all the stuff and puts me in the next good field to work with. If I want to, I could go back up here with the arrow key and say, well, in this case, I want to just put attention, George's mom, whatever you want, and then go start entering stuff. In other words, the same is just a thing that's going to pop everything in as an exact duplicate. We still have the ability to go change it around a little bit. Okay, that's a pretty good thing for this lesson, just showing a little bit about what you can do with processing. Next, we're going to do a little bit of math. The math we have to do is we have to, every time we put in a price or a quantity, we want to multiply those two things together and get the charge for that line item. And aside from that, we want to add up all the charges and stick them in the subtotal and add the tax, shipping, and so forth, subtract payments. We're going to do math in the next lesson.